My mother-in-law unalived my baby for my husband's attention. My mother-in-law, 57, told me she wants my, 25, unborn child to call her mom. Her reasoning: I am more important to my son than you. There's only one thing you can give him that I can't. She also insists that she can have a baby too if she wanted. I'm not special for being pregnant. She genuinely believes that I stole her son from her and don't deserve to have my own child refer to me as mom. She has officially won. I was 14 weeks and had a very bad fall where I landed on my belly. She put her stuff all over our living room floor to store it here for some reason, and I tripped on the mess. I began miscarrying 20 minutes later. She was here when it happened and knew it was happening. I was texting, calling, crying, yelling from the bathroom to get his attention. He came in, saw that I had blood overflowing from my shorts and said he urgently needed to help his mom. He left. I went through the brunt of miscarriage myself. I held the remains in my hands. I begged him over text to come to the bathroom and help me. To hold me. To go through this with me. He finally came in a half hour later and saw the blood everywhere. I'm anemic and couldn't stand anymore. He made a comment about how it was going to be a lot to clean up. So I tossed off my clothes, climbed into the shower, and bled there. I asked him to buy me large pads and said I'd clean the mess. He came back half an hour later with the pads and kept explaining that his mom needed him. They knew I was miscarrying, but she needed help moving things and it was urgent. She was outside when I cleaned up the bathroom and went to the kitchen for food. I was weak and struggling. She didn't make eye contact with me or talk to me at all. Probably because she knew she had won. She took my husband away from me during the most traumatic point of my life. And he went willingly. I feel so lost. He spent the night at his mom's house and left me alone. He isn't back yet. I've been alone with his kids from a different relationship, who he only gets to see one 3-day weekend a month. He hasn't texted me and I haven't reached out either. I don't know why I wasn't important to him, why the miscarriage wasn't urgent, why he didn't want to hold me. Why he won't come home. I'm so lost and alone and my heart is broken. She's probably celebrating while I'm mourning. My mother-in-law unalived my baby for my husband's attention. I ended up discharged from the hospital after 24 hours and he still wasn't home. I confided in my family and they booked me a ticket home. They were horrified that this had happened, and a little hurt that I didn't reach out when it was happening for help. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. I packed my things and flew to them. He still hadn't responded to my texts, voicemails, or calls, so I left him a handwritten note. A few days after being with my family, I get a long text from him. He said that he had to stay with his mother for the entire week after I had miscarried in our home, basically because of her, And get this, folks. She felt triggered by my miscarriage and needed his emotional support. He argued that she needed him as she and his father are divorced. During this time, he didn't want to bring me up to further cause her distress, so he went no contact with me for a week. He said he thought I was strong enough to wait for him. He thinks I've overreacted by flying home. He wants me to come home. I prepared for his crappy excuse and didn't let him manipulate me. I called and told him that when his mother had miscarried after he was born, she had her own husband to comfort her. While my husband left me alone and ignored me for a whole week. I told him everything you guys mentioned. It was medical neglect during a crisis, child abandonment of his own kids, my stepkids, who were supposed to be under his care, and abandonment. I could have died and was very weak when I had checked into the hospital. I was even weak when I left. I told him I needed space to heal. I was finally getting emotional support from my family and am in a safe place. I'm not ready to see him. He said that he is her only son, he had to help her. I reminded him that he was my only husband and I needed him. The miscarriage was happening to me, not her. He asked me if we were still good. Absolutely not. I was blunt and told him I didn't see our relationship repairing after what he did. His actions will haunt me for years. I cry myself to sleep every night. I miss my baby and marriage, both of them died the same day. I haven't filed, but I plan on filing for divorce when I'm ready for it. He is upset. He cried and told me I was being overly emotional because of the loss. That I wasn't in my right mind and said he'd fly out to see me and bring me home. I put my parents on the phone and let them chew him out. I don't know what they said, but he hasn't called since. He's texted a few times but I haven't responded. Mother-in-law can keep her son. She hasn't contacted me at all since this all happened and it's been a blessing. I've heard from mutual friends that she is blasting me to everyone over social media, but I'm going to stay out of it for my own peace of mind.